Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Aryan Tutorials, and I'm Aryan Thakkar, your coach and mentor. And in this particular video, I'm going to take up your short story as to how to ace the perfect short story and get a perfect 20 on 20 while writing, attempting this composition. What are your key points which you need to remember, your takeaways, and the mistakes to avoid while writing this composition? So let's get started. Now, first of all, things which you need to remember about short story. It should be original because the legend clearly says write an original short story from beginning or ending the following lines. So it has to be original. That is, plagiarism is not acceptable. प्लेजरिज्म का मतलब क्या होता है कि आपने कहीं से कोई बोरोड कंटेंट ले लिया एंड उसके ऊपर अपना शॉर्ट स्टोरी बिल्ड कर दिया, वो नहीं चलेगा। बिकॉज अगर टीचर ने वो कॉन्टेक्स्ट कहीं से पढ़ा होगा या रीड किया होगा या उन्हें फील हो गया कि ये कॉपी पेस्टेड है, वहां पे आप पीनलाइज हो जाएंगे। सो मेक श्योर यू डू नॉट प्लेजराइज व्हाइल राइटिंग योर शॉर्ट स्टोरी। ऑल्सो बहुत ही फ्रीक्वेंटली आस्क्ड क्वेश्चन जो मेरे से पूछा जाता है कि क्या हम लोग कोई अपना प्रिज्म टेक्स्ट बुक से या आईसीएसई का ट्रेजर चेस्ट या ट्रेजर ट्रोव से उठा के कुछ भी लिख सकते हैं? द आंसर इज नो, बिकॉज it clearly states that you have to write an original short story. आप कॉपी पेस्टिंग नहीं कर सकते हो कहीं से भी, रिमेंबर दैट। थर्ड थिंग, एटलीस्ट शॉर्ट स्टोरी लिखते वक्त आप 2 से 3 कैरेक्टर्स डालें एंड साथ ही साथ डायलॉग्स का इस्तेमाल करें अपने शॉर्ट स्टोरीज में, यानी कि डायरेक्टेड स्पीच का, डायरेक्ट और इनडायरेक्ट स्पीच का आप इस्तेमाल करिए, रिपोर्टेड स्पीच का इस्तेमाल करिए, आपका शॉर्ट स्टोरीज अपने आप एलिवेट हो जाएगा। ठीक है। ऑल्सो ध्यान रखिएगा कि शॉर्ट स्टोरी को आप डिस्क्रिप्टिव वे में या नैरेटिव वे में नहीं लिख सकते हैं। इट क्लियरली हैज टू हैव अ प्लॉट, अ सेटिंग, 2-3 कैरेक्टर्स एंड अ रेलेवेंट कंक्लूजन टू इट। ठीक है। That makes us our fourth point, that there has to be a plot, setting, theme and the loose ends to be tied up, means एक relevant conclusion के साथ आपका short story end होना चाहिए। चलिए नेक्स्ट आगे बढ़ते हैं। Now, who should attend short story? Someone who is very good at quick thinking, जिसके पास बहुत ज्यादा vocabulary नहीं है या बहुत अच्छे से आर्टिकुलेट करके एक्सप्रेस करके जो लोग नहीं लिख पाते हैं, जो लोग जल्दी से सोच सकते हैं, क्विक एबिलिटी टू थिंक है, उनको ये शॉर्ट स्टोरी अटेम्प्ट करना चाहिए। हु हैज अ प्लॉट, जिसमें आपके पास एक कोई बहुत अच्छा मास्टर स्ट्रोकिंग काइंड ऑफ प्लॉट है, स्टोरी है, तभी उनको ये अटेम्प्ट करना चाहिए। तीसरा, समवन हु इज गुड एट रिपोर्टेड स्पीच, यानी जो लोग डायलॉग्स डाल सकते हैं ग्रामेटिकली, जिनको डायरेक्ट रिपोर्टेड स्पीच का रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस पता है, उनको शॉर्ट स्टोरी अटेम्प्ट करना चाहिए। बट मेक श्योर जब भी आप डायलॉग लिख रहे हैं इन्वर्टेड कॉमा के अंदर में लिखिएगा। ठीक है। एंड हु इज गुड एट ब्रिंगिंग आउट द थीम्स, थीमेटिकली जो लोग एक्सप्रेस कर सकते हैं एक पर्टिकुलर थीम को, डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द लाइन के किससे बिगनिंग करना था या एंड करना था, उसको अगर आप उभार सकते हो, if you can bring that out, bring to the table the proper theme which the topic is trying to address, then it's a thumbs up. You should definitely go for a short story. And precautions which you need to take is that you should not end your short story in dreams unless specified. जब तक बोला ना गया हो कि आपका शॉर्ट स्टोरी एंडिंग ड्रीम में ही खत्म हो रहा है, तब तक आप कोशिश करिए कि ड्रीम वाला शॉर्ट स्टोरी ना लिखें। मतलब कि फॉर एग्जाम्पल कि आपने शॉर्ट स्टोरी बनाया एंड देन आई जस्ट वोक अप टू माई मदर्स शाउट and that's when I realized that, oh, it was all a dream. That is not allowed. Do not do so. Secondly, you need to carefully take note of the topic, whether it is given that you have to make your short story by beginning that line or by ending that line, because बहुत बार हमने देखा है कि जहां लिखा रहता है टॉपिक में write an original short story beginning from a particular line, बच्चे लोग उस लाइन से नहीं शुरू करके पहले कुछ अपना ही स्टार्ट करके उसके बाद उसको बीच में कहीं डालते हैं। आफ्टर 3-4 लाइंस मत करेगा, उससे बीआई हो जाता है। बीआई इज ब्लेटेंट इररेलेवेंसी, एंड अगर आपका ऐसे बीआई हो गया, ब्लेटेंट इररेलेवेंसी हो गया, तो उसमें टीचर्स फिर 3/5 ऑफ द मार्क्स दैट दे हैड डिसाइडेड टू अलॉट वो डिडक्ट कर देते हैं। तो सपोजिटली मान लीजिए मैंने आपका पूरा कॉम्पोजिशन पढ़ा एंड मैंने डिसाइड किया था कि मैं आपको 18 दूंगा, उसका 3/5 में डिडक्ट कर लूंगा, 3/5 यानी कि 60% ऑफ 18 काट दिया जाएगा फॉर मेकिंग दैट ब्लेटेंट इररेलेवेंसी। सो इसका बहुत ध्यान रखिएगा कि आपको शॉर्ट स्टोरी अगर दिया है कि यू हैव टू स्टार्ट विद द फॉलोइंग लाइंस और यू हैव टू एंड विद द फॉलोइंग लाइंस, यू टेक नोट ऑफ इट एंड आप उसी लाइन से शुरू या फिर एंड करें ताकि आपका बीआई ना हो, ठीक है। एंड डू नॉट लीव इट ऑन अ क्लिफ हैंगर, मीन्स अब्रप्ट एंडिंग मत छोड़ दीजिएगा। कोशिश करिएगा कि आप एक रेलेवेंट कंक्लूजन दे पाए एज टू क्या हुआ आपके शॉर्ट स्टोरी में, जो कि आपका कंक्लूजन बिगिनिंग से कनेक्ट हो। By keeping all these points in mind, you can build a beautiful short story and you can ace your short story composition. Now, जैसा कि मैं आपको हमेशा एक सैंपल ऐसे रीड कराता हूं, तो मैं आपको अपनी एक स्टूडेंट का सैंपल शॉर्ट स्टोरी रीड कराऊंगा इन विच शी हैज got a full 20 on 20 for writing that short story. So let's go ahead. Okay, so there you go. The short story in which I have given her a full 20 on 20, and I'm sure that you'll get chills after reading this short story. So the topic given to her was that she had to begin her short story by the following lines: that as I entered the house dot 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 dot. Okay, so please ensure कि जब भी आपको कोई भी short story में lines दिया जाए कि उससे you have to begin or you have to end, you stick to that, otherwise आपका blatant irrelevancy हो जाएगा and 3/5 of the marks will be deducted. 60% number हमें काटना पड़ जाता है अगर आप BI कर देते हो। चलिए, as I entered the house, my eyes widened and I felt my heart skip a beat. That exact moment, I tried to turn back and run for my life, but bang! The man behind me hit me with an iron rod on my head and I fell to the ground, lying there unconscious, said Sarah, while her body was still shivering and tears rolled down her cheeks. The officer sitting across her at the table offered her a glass of water. She helped herself with that glass of water with her trembling hands while she took a sip and a deep sigh. I know it's hard for you to narrate the whole incident and relive the trauma, but it is necessary for me to write down your statement, said the officer with eyes full of pity. Sarah sighed, and with a heavy heart she continued. So I laid there unconscious. Blood was dripping through my wounded forehead. I felt as if those two men had grabbed me and carried me away to another room. As I was being carried away, I barely managed to open my eyes through my blurry vision. I had a closer view to the initial sight. Sarah's word is over. Uske baad, had the sight frightened you when you had entered the house? And inquired the officer while noting down in his diary. Yes, replied Sarah. Can you describe it to me? Sarah took another sip of water and continued. He was a creepy man operating on the body of an unconscious boy. I think they were having an organ trafficking operation going on. Are you sure about that? The officer interrogated. Yes, I clearly remember. Though my vision was blurry, but the gruesome image of the blood covered hands with an organ in it is imprinted in my mind, confirmed Sarah while casually sipping onto the glass of water in her hand. She continued, I did regain my consciousness back, but I pretended to remain unconscious and kept my eyes shut. We will get a good amount for her entrails. Entrails means internal organs, said one of the man who was carrying me. Yeah, but first we should enjoy her to ourselves, replied the other man. They took me upstairs to a room and laid me down on a bed. Let's go grab the rope and tie her down before she gains back her consciousness, they said, and left the room. I knew that it was my only opportunity to escape and not end up being dead. So, as soon as I regained all my strength, I got up and made a run for the window. My heart was pounding, adrenaline was rushing through my veins, and without a second thought, I jumped out through the window and landed onto the bushes of the backyard. At that moment, I did not bother about any pain. I just ran for my life with all the strength and speed I had within myself. One of my friend's house was nearby, and that is where I halted for the night as I was too traumatized to go back home alone. Sarah wiped tears off her face and gulped down the last sip of water. Oh, so you are the one that had got away, said the officer with his lips curved into a weird smirk. Mm, maybe I am, replied Sarah. Are you sure about that? Counter questioned the officer. Her eyes filled with confusion. She seemed to be in a conundrum. Conundrum means like in a state of dilemma, like in a state of confusion, utter state of dismay and disarray. She started feeling dizzy, placing her hand on her forehead as it seemed the whole world was spinning around her. The officer asked, do you remember any details of the men that took you? One of them had green eyes, she whispered as she could barely speak anymore. The officer removed his glasses and asked, were they like these? She fell to the ground from her chair unconscious, the empty glass in her hand. Little did she know that her glass was spiked. So, what did you understand from this particular story? That basically those two men were no other than the officer themselves who were indulged into organ trafficking. So she has given the title The Girl That Got Away. It's basically ironical that the girl who had managed to run from that organ trafficking, uh, basically organ trafficking, like the men who were into that, and she had again come back to get trapped into the same space, same place. So look at the plot, look at the context, look at the setting, the characters, and it's a marvelous essay, and that's why she's got a full 20 on 20 for the content. Expression is a little bit here and there, but it's okay as long as the content is very good. Teachers do give you a 20 on 20 or even a 19 on 20. So I hope you like this video, and if you do, then please do like, share, subscribe, and share it with your other friends. All the best for your exam. Take care. Bye bye.